Chapter 8, Section 1 in the 7th grade note-taking guide is entitled Building Blocks of Geometry. So we're kind of switching topics entirely here and headed into the concept of two-dimensional space here, where we're going to talk about the different shapes and components of geometry. Let's look at the definitions. There are quite a few. A point is an exact location in space. A point is an exact location in space. A line is a straight path that has no thickness and extends forever in opposite directions. A straight path that has no thickness and extends forever in opposite directions. A plane is a flat surface that has no thickness and extends forever. A plane is a flat surface that has no thickness and extends forever. A ray is a part of a line that has one endpoint and extends forever in one direction. Part of a line that has one endpoint and extends forever in one direction. Line segment is a part of a line or ray that extends from one endpoint to another. Part of a line or ray that extends from one endpoint to another. And congruent are figures that have the same shape and size. Figures that have the same shape and size. Now, in the questions we're about to work through here, in the different examples, they're going to have us talking about each one of these things, identifying each one of those things in a drawing. So we need not worry about what these are right now because we're about to see them here in the coming up examples. So let's go ahead and take a look at example 1 here. In example 1, they're asking me to identify the figures in the diagram. Alright, so they're starting off here in part A by asking me to identify a point. So if I were to just put my pen down at a place on the illustration, that would be a point. Alright, and I can do that pretty much anywhere on the illustration or anywhere on one of the lines that's in there, and those would be points. Now, as you can see, they have 3 of those very specifically that are already labeled here. They've got D already labeled here, they've got E already labeled here, and they've got F already labeled here. So the points here are D, E, and F. Now, as far as part B goes, they're asking me for a line. A line extends forever in opposite directions. So what you're looking for is something that has arrowheads on either side of it. So as you can see, as we look at this one here in the illustration, the one that kind of goes north-south, very close to north-south, right, that has arrowheads on both sides. It has arrowhead at the top and an arrowhead on the bottom. That's how we know it's a line, because the arrowheads indicate that it's going to continue forever in opposite directions. So that's a line. We call a line by the points that are on the line. Well, the only 2 points that happen to be on this line are D up here and F down here. So this is line DF. So you can call it DF, or you can call it the opposite way, FD. And as you can see, when we write that, we actually make a line symbol over the top of it. The line symbol has the arrowheads, and it's probably hard to see in this printout, so I'll make them bigger, has the arrowheads on either side of it. That's how we know that we're talking about a line. Eventually, they'll just say DF and draw the thing here, and they won't put the fact that it's a line. So you have to know, based on the fact that it's got this symbol over the top of it with the arrowheads, that it's a line. You've also got, as you can see here, this one that runs kind of east-west, left to right across the illustration anyway. DE here has arrowheads on either side of it. We can call it either way, going from D to E, which would be talking about the line going this way, or E to D, which would be talking about the line going this way. Again, arrowheads on either side, so that is our other line. And again, I'll make sure those arrowheads are easier to see here. D to E, or you can call it the other way, E to D. Alright, finally we've got a plane here. A plane is 3 points, but they can't be on the same line. Plane is simply a layer of the two-dimensional space. For instance, if I took this other sheet of paper and hovered it over the one that's already there, the notes we've been taking here, all right, this sheet that's down here that you even take notes on would be its own plane. This sheet that's now floating overhead would be another plane. Just a layer of the two-dimensional space. Picture cutting an apple, taking slices of an apple, going straight across the apple. All right, each slice would be its own plane. So here, on that illustration there, on that parallelogram, they're asking me to put together three letters as long as they're not all on the same line. So here we only have three letters, so that's kind of a giveaway. And so the answer here is plane D, E, F.